Hey guys, it is November 12th, 2019. We were tagged by Dave, the Hillside Gardener, on the 3 lessons of 2019 for our garden and stuff, and so I would like to put that together. We haven't had a video out in a couple weeks, but I just kind of wanted to let everybody know there's nothing wrong, nothing going. We're just taking a breather. Our yard's kind of crashed. We have a lot of cleanup and boring stuff that's been going on, so we're still all in. We're still motivated as ever. So we thought we would take this chance to sit down. A lot of the videos that I've saw on this 3 lessons so far have had to do with specifically the garden. So the 3 that I put down right here, just barely wrote them down. Our videos are better when we kind of freelance it, so we'll try to do this in one take and see how it turns out. Dave the Hillside Gardener, I'll provide the link to his channel down in the description box, and then I'll tag 3 others if they would like to do it as well. A lot of the other videos that we have seen on it had specifically to do with the garden, so these 3 things that I'm going to mention that are lessons for us pretty much every year are a little more philosophical, you might say, or lofty thinking kind of things. They're not necessarily specifically to a plant that we had an issue with or things like that. We learn dozens of lessons every single day in the yard, to be honest with you. So the first lesson that we kind of learn every single year and we keep relearning is to take the shot, to go ahead and do it. I don't want our channel to be known as necessarily a tutorial channel or a how-to channel. We are just going for it, you know. Like, it's November right now, we're planning on planting seeds 3 or 4 months in advance and stuff. I mean, the worst that could happen is it could all fall out, you know. But I have a saying that I like to put out there every once in a while. It's like, you know, we shoot for the stars and we land on the moon, so it's still pretty miraculous in the end anyways, as long as you have those lofty ideas and you take the shot, you know, move forward. You know, if you have an idea, you want to grow a pepper in your house through the winter, a whole bunch of peppers, you want to plant a whole tray of tomatoes for no reason 5 months early, you know, the worst that could happen, you can go to the grocery store and get a couple dollars worth of snack peppers and have yourself a few thousand seeds. So there's always ways to kind of do that stuff, and our channel, we hope to motivate people to kind of help push them forward to, you know, take those chances and stuff like that. We get so much inspiration from you guys to move forward on these things. And if you're feeling it and it feels like something you want to do, just, you know, go for it. Take that chance. It's always worth the effort and stuff. So that's kind of our thing, you know. Our garden crashed a little bit early this year, and we're planning on planting already, so we might go with a little bit dwarf, things like that, you know. But number 2, I put for a lesson that we always learn is attrition and lateral movement. Gardening is not a fast hobby. It's a very, very kind of slow hobby. So as you kind of sink down into it more and more and more as the season goes on, you go out there and you water your yard, you know what I mean, and the very next day everything's dried out again. Sometimes you need to water it that next day too. It's an attrition thing. You got to be able to be willing to understand the length of the process and stuff, from the time planting the seeds or buying the sprouts or transplanting and it recovering to moving forward and stuff like that. And you also have to have a lot of lateral movement. In our zone, we call it the Utah Gamble. We live in southwestern Utah, but we call it the Utah Gamble because it's unpredictable as heck. You don't know when it's going to snow. You don't know when the frost is going to hit. You can't really trust the weather guys on TV and on the internet because they're way off from what we see in our own, like, microclimate in our yard. So you got to be able to understand that the process is going to be a long process, you know, and if you don't really love it or you're not really into it, then you might have a lot of struggle. And I've seen a lot of gardeners, once they start hitting that heavy workload and it stops to be as glamorous, it gets tough. And then also just random things. Like this year we had random things hit our yard that were out of our control. You got to have, you know, the ability to understand the attrition aspect of it and the lateral movement, for example. And then number 3 on it was prepare for the crash. Every single year, as soon as our yards start falling apart, I watch everybody starting to shut things down, and it's like, oh, everything's fine, it's a part of the process. We all go through a crash. there's a dampening effect that hits all of us. That's, you know, I mentioned it before in a video and stuff. It's a part of science, you know. It's the muted light. It's the lack of money as you try to, you know, get presents and, you know, take care of your families for the holidays. It's the cold weather that keeps us indoors and more dormant and stuff like that. We're all going to go through it. Some of us very, very little, almost non-discernible, and some of us to an extreme degree. But the one defining factor is that it's happening to all of us as our yards start to shut down and we start to lose that momentum. So the three things I put on here that I just kind of thought I would sit down on a video, since we haven't done one in 2 or 3 weeks, was take the shot, move forward. You know, what do you have to lose? You know, find something unique, find something that interests you. If, you know, I think we'll probably have another video coming up pretty soon where we do a little bit of a challenge on a rescue plant challenge video. But, you know, take the shot, go for it. You know, it's not always easy, it's not always tough and stuff, but once you move towards that direction, the worst that could happen, you know. So I'll probably plant some seeds tonight too, just to reaffirm my own process on that. But, you know, move forward, you know, don't be afraid to take that chance, you know. I always talk about how small our yard is, and then I sit and see when we got like 25 varieties of unique pepper growing out there, and I think to myself, man, that's a lot. And then sometimes I look out there and I think, man, that's, you know, I wish I had more space. I wish I had this. And then I remember people like my sister, you know, who has a balcony on a second or third story apartment complex, a giant complex, you know, and what she's got to grow with and how she keeps moving forward. And I think to myself, it's really humbling to kind of recognize that, you know, somebody out there has it worse than you, so that you can't complain too much, you know. I understand gardening isn't going to be for everybody, you know, and that's a lot of the attrition aspect too. It's a lot of ways out there that you can really fill that risk reward system a lot quicker and easier. One of the reasons I've been off of, you know, doing videos for a couple weeks has to do with the new video game out. I've been playing that video game, and, you know, as the opportunities came around, I kind of pushed through it. But attrition and lateral movement, and then be ready. There's always, always, always in everybody's yard, every single year, going to be something unpredictable happen. And if you have that lateral movement, recognizing that you can keep on building stuff. Like, I learned all sorts of stuff about fig trees, especially around this time of year with several of the channels that we watch. And we don't have any fig trees. So it's that whole lateral movement. I've applied some of those thoughts and ideas in order to help out other plants or deal with other stuff. We have a cherry bush out there. The lateral movement, you have to be ready to be able to move with the impact. It's almost like rolling with the punches kind of thing. And then prepare for the crash. You know, every single year we're going to come down to this. I really, the first several years, I heard a lot more from this as our garden crashed. But as it crashed this year, I say, you know, it's horrible. It's horrible. I hate it out there. I look out there, I see all the work that still needs to be done. Nothing good's growing. And it's tough, but this is a good time for the gardening community. It's a good time for us to all, you know, challenge each other, network with each other, get to know each other, do all those different things. Take the shot, attrition and lateral movement through the growth season, and prepare for the crash at the end. So those are the three lessons. We relearn those every year. This time we'll be taking bigger shots than we did last year. We're going to have more failures, obviously, you know what I mean, and then we're going to have to push through and continue to fight for that, you know, through the entire growth season of next year. We're all in still, you guys. We love you, we love this community, and, you know, we're ready for whatever impact. Last year we got hit by poison. Our pepper wall got hit by poison from the neighbor's yard, so it wiped out a bunch. That has nothing to do with weather, has nothing to do with anything we planned or predicted for, but it is what it is and stuff. And, you know, we were able to contact somebody that we knew and get some replacements, and we were able to lock down with our knowledge so far of, you know, peppers and stuff in order to take care of that. And then now that the end of this year's coming and stuff, we're anticipating that crash. And so as it's been happening to us this year, we are hoping to soak back into the gardening community and start planning for next year with everybody and gathering seeds and stuff. So take the shot, attrition and lateral movement, and prepare for crash. And so That's 3 kind of vaguish lessons, but they mean a lot to us. It's ones that we hold in our head every single year that we grow. And trust this community. Trust this community. You guys have really helped us. What was that?
And choose 3 people to do it too.
3 people? Oh yeah, so we're tagging 3 people. A lot of people have already done this challenge. If you haven't done this challenge and you're watching this video, this is an open tag directly to you. If you're watching me say this right now and you haven't done your video, go ahead. This is an open opportunity. And anybody that we tag openly or verbally right now has no obligation to do this. It's just a way that the community kind of interacts. This thing picks up during the cold season. It's a good chance to build community and to kind of trust and rely on each other as we go through the dampening effect. But the first one I want to throw out there is Seedaholic Gardens, a channel that we've loved for a really, really long time. I was checking on her channel recently and had seen that she hasn't done the 3 things. So Seedaholic Gardens, 3 lessons. A lot of the other videos, it's just lessons that you learn in the actual garden, not necessarily gardening lessons, but we're doing it our way a little bit different. And the second one I want to tag, it's got about 31 subs is all, is a family, and Cecily Cottle will be it. And I'll provide all the links down in the descriptions. It's a family, they just got some property, I think earlier this year, that they've been kind of working on. They're trying to transition into that. So they kind of are slipping into the gardening community a little bit, and they're also they're also slipping into the homesteading aspects of things a little bit. But when I watch their videos, it reminds us of when we were just a family kind of doing home videos and we started to slip into the community. And there's a 3rd channel I'd like to mention and do a shout out for. I'm going to have to go over there. I've never commented on their videos yet. Every year, about 2 or 3 times a year, we'll look up Garden Update, and then we'll change the filter to the most recent on the upload date, and then we'll go down and we'll find somebody. So it's like us reaching out and finding somebody new. And I sometimes don't comment on those channels and sometimes don't stick around forever, but it's a good way to kind of reach out and find somebody new. And that channel is JNS Homestead. So it's a guy, he had a video up recently about how his hearing loss had affected him, his job situation and stuff like that. But he does gardening. I think he has chickens. He has homesteading stuff. He's got 8 subscribers, and I'm watching his content, and I'm seeing content that looks a lot like what a lot of us are doing here, which is kind of personal experience vids more than they are necessarily gardening or homesteading. It's like-minded people in a community with similar interests, and then also, you know, we learn that stuff. If you have jarred stuff before or canned stuff, go ahead and do another video on it. We can watch it 10 times in a row. Like, it's like a reaffirmation every single time we watch that. So JNS Homestead, Cecily Cottle, Seedaholic Gardens, those are the 3 channels I'd like to tag. And then the one that tagged us was Dave the Hillside Gardener, another channel that it seems kind of similar to us. You know, it's kind of like just the personal experience vids. But this is UT Angels filming, and thought I'd get this video out there. It's been a couple weeks. We're completely fine. Everything's all right. We're just taking a breather for a second, and I think we're about to open up again. So I love you guys. I really appreciate this community. I cannot put into words the amount of inspiration and love and support that you guys have given to us. It may just be this community thing and everybody's interacting and stuff like that, but I'm telling you, from my heart, it is more than that. There's something more going on here. We are better people after knowing you guys. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys watching the vids. We thought we would get this one out here before too long. So get out there. I don't care if it's wintertime, you know, grow something. It's too much fun. I love you guys. Thanks for watching.